Hello, everyone. My name is Sanisha Knight, and the title of my action research is Effective Writing Strategy for ESOL Students. My research question is, what is the effect on the writing of third grade ESOL students when key sentence frames are provided in their writing responses? So a key sentence frame is a structure for writing with fill-in-the-blank words created for students to use as a starter to answer questions. It can be used across any subject, including math, science, history, and writing and reading. So the goal of the study was to help improve the writing skills of third grade students with an emphasis on responding to prompts using key sentence frames to help the structure of the sentence, to provide instructional scaffolding in order to enhance learning, aid ESOL students in mastering the English language, and help build new knowledge based on experience that they already possess. So my qualitative and quantitative data. For qualitative, I kept a journal of my observations during the 6 weeks of data collection. With this journal, I was able to reflect on the progression of the small group instruction, and then I was also able to identify areas of improvement and indicate my findings. For my quantitative data, the students completed a pre-test and post-test, which I graded using a pre-approved third grade writing rubric. The writing was a prompt for fiction and nonfiction, and I was able to collect the data from the rubric to keep track of their progress. I also collected data from a weekly survey / exit ticket. My literature review. So first off, in my literature review, the first thing I looked at was reading and writing challenges for ESOL students. So it was discovered that when working with ELLs who are still developing academic language proficiency, it is important to provide instructional accommodations and incorporate basic reading and language skills across all content areas. When students struggle with fluency and reading comprehension, they are likely to face similar or even greater challenges when reading content area text. So when providing the key sentence frames, we are providing a word bank that provides the students with that academic language so that they can be proficient. We are also giving those students instructional accommodations by giving them those key sentence frames and structuring out their writing because they have not yet mastered the English language. The next part I looked at for my literature review was engaging those ESOL students. Pandy found that an atmosphere that is responsive to specific student needs is meaningful and contextualized. It also entails moving away from the traditional teacher-fronted classrooms to targeted workshop-centered classes that allow for one-on-one conferencing in the middle school ESOL writing class. Well, this one-on-one conferencing setting is also beneficial in the elementary as well as the high school setting. Well, being that I'm in the elementary school setting, I was able to do that in a small group setting and get away from the teacher-fronted classroom and be able to engage those students by using the teaching strategy of key sentence frame. The next part of my literature review, I focused on different instructional strategies for ESOL students. So Pandy also found that the use of visual templates that reflect a mix of both graphic and acronym-based strategies for writing instruction empowers emerging ESOL writers with the accuracy and fluency they need for advanced expository college-based writing. Levins, Lukens, and Smallwood mention that the go-to strategies adapt to many different types of content and a wide variety of learners, and effective teachers can incorporate these strategies into specific learning situations that match the needs of their learners. So the Key sentence frame actually is a part of the go-to strategies that Levin, Lukens, and Smallwood mentions. The key sentence frame allows for the teacher to adapt to that specific learning situation for the needs of our learners. My methodology plan. So first off, I provided my instruction in small group. There were 4 third grade ESOL students. There was a pre-test and post-test that was graded with a pre-approved third grade writing rubric. There were weekly surveys / exit tickets. And for my qualitative data, there was a daily journal. So here we have my quantitative data. You see an example of my survey / exit ticket. So the survey was done weekly. The students had to rate themselves on a scale from 1 to 5, with 5 being the highest. So the first question was, the first statement was, this strategy helped me to understand how to complete my task. The next one was, this strategy helped me to understand what I need help with. Third, this strategy made writing easier. Next, this strategy was useful to my understanding of the writing process, and this strategy can be used across different subjects. And then the students had space to also add comments. The next thing we see is the actual rubric that was used to grade the pre-test and the post-test. There were 4 categories, and those categories were focus on topic, support for topic, organization, and grammar. They were also leveled level 1, 2, 3, and 4, with 4 being the highest. On that rubric, the highest score you could have made was a 16. So on to my findings. Finding number 1. Providing ESOL students reading and writing texts that they have background knowledge in and can relate to results in longer, substantial writing. So the qualitative support that I had that supported this actual finding was that in my journal during week 3, I observed that my ESOL students, they really enjoyed reading content when they could relate to the topic. So if that topic was on soccer, which was a nonfiction text, the students responded positively. They wrote longer. They had a positive attitude about writing when they could relate to the actual topic. Using this data, I was able to give immediate feedback and adjust some other lessons to ensure that the lessons had content that was relatable. In week 3, one female student noted that she likes when the topic is easy or relatable to write about, because she doesn't have to spend a lot of time thinking about the topic and then trying to figure out what to write about. In week 4, day 2 of my journal, I wrote that I modified my plan because the goal ultimately is for the students to write using the key sentence frames and then use it across subjects. I believe that if they're interested in the topic, the goal then is more attainable. The quantitative support that I have for finding number 1 is that the survey in week 3, the data stayed consistent as week 1, with only 2 out of 4 students stating that the strategy key sentence frames helped them to understand how to complete their task. Using this data, I was able to speak with the student that didn't feel the strategy helped, or one of the students that felt that the strategy didn't help with completing the assignment, and I was able to receive feedback on possible ways to provide better instruction to the students. In week 3, day 5, I wrote in my journal that the student that I was referenced above stated that when the topics are easy, they are able to respond effectively. I asked, what does that mean? And the student said, well, it means that it's easier. The response was about the topic. This prompted me to start focusing on topics more so, that the students could master the skill with the relatable topic and then eventually move on to other topics. In week 4, based on the survey, which was a week later, 3 out of 4 of the students stated that the strategy key sentence frames helped them to understand how to complete their task. And this was an increase from the week prior, and that shows that relatable topics are starting to become effective. Finding 2. Working with the students in small group outside of the homeroom class setting increases academic achievement. Well, the qualitative support is, in week 1, I observed that when the students are in the homeroom class with the other students, they're not as focused as opposed to when they're pulled out for small group in my classroom. The students are distracted easily by others and interruptions from the homeroom teacher, and it causes a delayed response from the students. The students do not complete their assignments or use their time effectively when they're in the homeroom class due to those same distractions and interruptions. In week 2, I observed that the students respond better in an isolated area because they are able to focus without distractions and interruptions, and the students are able to complete their writing assignments effectively and receive feedback as well. Finding number 3. Students respond better to nonfiction text than to fiction text. In week 3, I observed my students writing more when the text is nonfiction. It is my belief that because there are text features and the information is right there in the text, they are able to provide the information for the key sentence frames. The students are able to provide the main idea and details from a text and are able to state it because the text is straightforward. In week 3, I also wrote in my journal that the students as a whole struggled with fiction text because they are being exposed to vocabulary about character traits, feelings, and then they struggle with relating to the character themselves. My quantitative data for nonfiction text is that from the survey, 4 out of 4 students say that they could use this key sentence frame across subjects when the text is nonfiction. But only 2 out of 4 students say that they can use the key sentence frame when the text is fiction. From the rubric, 3 out of 4 students were able to score a 12 out of 16 on their writing when the text is nonfiction. So, teaching reading and writing to ESOL students should be inclusive, engaging, and to the learner's ability. Although ESOL students face challenges of not speaking the English language when entering the country, it is the teacher's responsibility to ensure students are successful academically and socially. The use of different instructional strategies for all learners is good practice as an effective teacher. However, as a teacher of ESOL students, we must ensure that we accommodate each student by providing assistance in their native language and ensuring that they master the English language as well as the content for each subject. After completing the 6 weeks of action research, I found that providing instruction in a small group setting away from distraction provided success for my students. Also, providing students with content that is about a relatable topic such as soccer increases engagement and builds understanding of the writing concept. Thank you.